Hello everyone, welcome to the Wake the Fuck Up podcast. I am your host, Major Hemorrhoid. How are you all doing tonight? Glad you've tuned in. Let's begin. Okay, so I went and got a haircut. As you can tell, things are a lot shorter, things are a lot cleaner. And I had to come out the pockets $34. I was so happy. I'm so happy. I was so happy. Especially since a few months ago I paid $30 for the same haircut. So, $4 increase, which is, 13%. And it had me thinking. I've been alive a while. Fuck. Yes, I am an old fart. And I remember when I became an adult, 18, I would go to the local barber college / hairstyle college, whatever, and I would pay $7.50 for a haircut. I also remember when I began driving that gasoline was $1 a gallon or less. Now you go to older people than I and they'll tell you it was even cheaper. A lot cheaper. There was still plenty of stuff below $1 at McDonald's. You could get a value meal for oftentimes less than $5. And the food was actually decent quality. The fries were delicious, very well salted, very tasty. The quarter pounders tasted like real meat, even looked like real meat. The ingredients were not as cut rate as they are today, and the fact that you're paying a lot of fucking money for a quarter pounder, or especially a double quarter pounder, and it got me thinking about prices, economy, inflation, and had me going for a second. And it's like, what causes inflation? What causes inflation? Well, if you listen to a lot of pundits, talking heads, and various individuals, you will get a lot of different answers. What causes inflation? Taxes, printing money that we don't have, overspending at both federal, state, county, and local levels. The value of the dollar worldwide, the dismissal of the gold standard, which held the dollar at a certain level, and cost of labor, although you'll hear some people say labor doesn't drive up prices, which is a fucking load of horse shit. See, when I first started working, minimum wage was $4.50, $4.75, somewhere around there. Where I currently live, there are multiple tiers of minimum wage. We are at the bottom. Let's see, what was it again? Oregon minimum wage $16.30 an hour for the Portland metro area, $15.05 for the standard areas, and $14 an hour for non-urban counties. Non-urban counties basically means butt fucking nowhere. Okay? Again, I was making $4.50, $4.75 when I first started working, and now we're being paid $14 an hour. Well, obviously that's going to cause some problems, because if the cost of labor is astronomical, prices are going to be astronomical too, because you have to pay for labor out of your business's money. Okay? Hopefully you understand that. There's three parts to a business there in terms of outlaying of cash. There is the labor, your talent, the people you pay to do the job. That goes with the company. Your supplies, your products, the stuff that you're actually putting together and throwing to the customer. And then there's the operations, which is the building, the insurance, the licensing, so on and so forth. Okay? Now, most of you have probably been around a little bit and have seen your bags of potato chips get smaller and smaller, and the cost just going up and up. Your meat. Ooh, that one pissed me off today too, because I went to the grocery store and I did some shopping. And I literally didn't want to spend money because the prices were so fucking ridiculous. Okay? About a week ago, you could get 93.7 burger, ground beef, for $6.99 a pound. And you could get the 85.15 for 50 cents less, and the 80.20, 50 cents less than that. Well, the prices went up again. $7.49 for 93.7. $7.49 a pound. The 85.15 was 50 cents less than that. And although there might have been some 80-20, I didn't see it, but they had 73.27 on sale for $3.99 a pound, which I'm sure will kick back up to $4.99 or maybe even $5.99. It's the first time I've seen it in there. And yeah, I bought a few pounds of the 73.27. Because paying $7.49 a pound for a fucking burger is outrageous and ridiculous. It's fucking bullshit. And what has those prices, what caused those prices to jump? Well, minimum wage in this state went up, so that obviously helps, because you have to have drivers for the trucks that bring the food in. That price is going to go up. Gas prices in this state are not going down. They are going up, but that has to do with taxation and bureaucratic and political incompetence by the Democrats who run this state. Yeah, I said it. This state is controlled by the I-5 Beltway, and they rarely meet a tax they don't want to pass. Well, our bureaucrats are very well paid in this state, which, again, they do nothing but act as middle management. And adding middle management typically returns very little, but it costs a hell of a lot. And if you were to look up the state bureaucrats and management, politicians, and find out how much they're paid and what kind of games they can play to get paid even more, and to have fat-ass pensions and fat-ass benefits that most people in Oregon can't get, because, of course, thank you, Obamacare, and everything you did for us. Fuck. So you've got to have high taxes in this state in order to pay for the largesse that our bureaucratic system and Democratic overlords want to go with. Then you have the federal taxes, of course, federal regulations, rules that are always being passed, and the book gets larger and larger every year. What was it, last year, the year before, McDonald's had an E. coli outbreak because some numbnut moron couldn't cook the burgers properly. Probably had a little crotch rot going on, itchy, scratchy, handle burger, you know. So that didn't help. So that added a shit ton of bureaucratic bullshit, more middle management, more corporate management, people who don't give a fuck about really much of anything except policy and procedure. So that's more middle management that you have to add on that is going to cause higher prices. And when prices go higher, that causes inflation because it affects everything. Okay? The lunch you want to pack. Okay? Your cheese is going to get higher. Your meat's going to get higher. Your bread's going to get higher. I mean, hot dog buns used to be $1.99 a few years ago. Now they're marked about $3.99 to $4.99. I saw $4.99 the other day, and I was about ready to shit a brick. Because prices go up with inflation. Because, of course, we're printing money. We're printing money we don't have at interest rates we can never afford to pay back. You know, to the Federal Reserve, to all of our bondholders. You know, all you motherfuckers know you're never getting paid back. You know, when this country collapses under the weight of its own debt bubbles, it's going to be a fire sale. It's going to be great, because who's going to pick up the pieces? Yay. Who's going to pick up the fucking pieces when that happens? But let's talk about the inflation, actually. You see, I was looking at a map out of, who was it from? datapandas.org. And I was looking at this map, and it shows all of the states and their debt level. There's one mistake. They said that Wyoming has a $2 million debt. That's actually $2 billion. But as I'm looking at this map, and I'll put it up on the screen here in just a second, the state of Oregon is in debt by $42 billion. California, right below us, where we get a lot of our refugees and middle management, is at $520 billion. Top level debt mismanagement. Who's that state ran by? Primarily Democrats. In fact, pretty much all Democrats. You know, the only places you're going to be a Republican and get elected is in very small rural districts. That's it. Major cities, go Democrat. Completely. And as you can see from the nightly news, if they actually have the balls to show it, Democrats aren't very good at money management. Not fucking at all. Republicans aren't much better, because they're more like Democrats than they ever have been. You know, I mean, shit, what was it? After the Clinton years, we were $10 trillion in the hole. And Clinton left office in 2001. And with each president, the debt numbers just go up to the point where they don't even broadcast them anymore. And when you have massive debts, you have larger percentages of interest that you have to pay back, because, of course, as you're not paying off your debt, the bank's going to want to charge you more for each loan you have to take. And when you have to take a loan every year to pay off debts with printed money, that increases the... Let me rephrase that. That decreases the value of the dollar, which means you have to sell more bonds to generate more dollars so you can continue paying for all of the largesse that you've got. And again, that adds to your inflation rate, because if the more interest you have to pay on the debt that you've got, the deeper in the hole you dig yourself. And this country is sitting at what? Almost 40 trillion at this point? 40 trillion in pay money that you'll never ever be able to pay back, because of course every time we try to cut the budget, Democrats scream, whine, and cry about, oh my God, everybody's gonna die. We're all gonna fucking, millions of people are gonna fucking die if we have to cut this one place by 0.5%. Again, that adds to the inflation. Money becomes more worthless, the more you're not gonna pay it back. It's like you getting a credit card, and then you load it, and then you get an offer for another credit card, and you try to transfer the debt. Well, they will decrease that amount, the interest rate, some of them, to you for transferring that debt. But then if you don't, you max out that credit card again. Then you need to do another one. But the next credit card company isn't going to be as nice or friendly about the interest rate, are they? Because now you've already transferred one balance to one card. Now you're going to transfer another balance to another card that they have to take on, that they have to pay the other credit card company for. Yeah, right. So again, interest rates climb, money gets tighter or looser depending on how you like to play, and that means less confidence in your ability to pay back debt, which means higher interest rates, which means inflation. Taxes. How much do you think you pay for taxes? How much do you think you pay for taxes? I was talking to some tourists the other day from Europe, and they were telling me about the tax rates in some of their countries, and I about shit a brick. 50% for Germany. I mean, everything is provided, but you're paying half of everything you make just so you can have these things, but you're still going deeper in debt. And remember, Europe as a whole has a decent sized population, but Europe is basically the semi-united states of Europe. The European Parliament is not exactly known for accountability and frugal management. And let's not forget, we provide them their military, right? We're supposed to protect the world. We're supposed to run around, which means we spend way more money than we get out of these countries, which of course adds to the debt, adds to the inflation, creates a really shitty road down that way, or down that way. Like I said, 40 trillion in the hole as a country. And that's the number they tell us. We don't know about the other shit, the off-budget shit that they never talk about. And those few that do usually are told to shut up and get in line and don't fucking say shit like that. You're not supposed to tell them the truth. But yeah, I'm looking at this map, and Washington's 90 billion, Oregon's 42 billion, California's 520 billion. I mean, let's look at who are the biggest states. We got California 520, we got New York 368, we got Texas 324. That's where a lot of the Californian refugees are going because it's more of a prosperous state, right? Illinois 159, Florida 131, Philadelphia 128, and so on and so forth. The lowest amount is Wyoming, which again, 2 billion, not 2 million. Vermont 5 billion, Idaho 6 billion, Montana 6 billion, South Dakota 7 billion. All states are in debt in the billions, which means that they have to borrow money in order to function as a government. Who are they borrowing that money from? Go look it up. I want you to educate yourselves. I want you to ask why, how, who, what, where, when. Ask the basic questions. That's what you need to be doing. You need to stay vigilant and learn shit so you can call out bullshit when you see and hear it. Okay? Not with just emotion, but with intelligence first. Then you can play the emotion card. Please? So, all of these states are in heavy debt. Heavy debt that they'll never pay back because, of course, they have to cut budgets. They're not going to. Oh, God. Because, again, most politicians, they see a tax they like, they want to pass it. You know. And if they can't get it to pass, then guess what? Oh, we'll just try it again later. Don't worry. We'll try it again. Hopefully when you're not looking and paying attention. So all of this debt, the interest rates from the debt, the ever-increasing minimum wages to compensate for the inflation. Let's see, a Social Security trust fund that's full of IOUs, whose money was wasted long ago so they could have or pretend to have collateral for all the debt that they've got. I don't believe any of the trust funds have actual real money in them. Government bonds, those are the IOUs. We'll pay you back later. Right, like all of these states are going to be able to pay everybody else back later. Sure, whatever. So if you've got most of your money going to taxes, you've got a shit ton of micromanaging bureaucrats and politicians who are just looking to get elected, lie to you to get elected, and then pretend that everything's going to be all right if we just go get those rich people. You know, they need to pay their fair share. Well, let's put it this way. If you were to confiscate the wealth of every rich person in this country, you wouldn't have enough to pay for the debt that we currently have. And I'll guarantee you, if you were to try, all of those rich people would get the fuck out of this country immediately, and probably this country would be utterly and catastrophically fucked. Keep that in mind, Democrats, when you continuously pass higher taxes. You drive people out of your state. The people who can't leave are the broke ones, the poor ones, the ones who don't have enough money to sell everything they've got and get the fuck out because no one's left to buy it. So not only do you have a forced stationary populace because they can't afford to leave, the gas prices that we all hear wonderful things about it going down and it going down and it going down. I'd like to live in some of those fucking states. $2.39 for a gallon of gas. Imagine that. I'm paying, what did I pay the other day? I paid $4.67 a gallon for a gallon of plus. Mid-grade, some of you call it. $4.67 a gallon. And it's going to go up again because, of course, our state government has to pass more taxes to pay for all of the largesse and all of the people that they want to employ on the governmental level. It's going to be great. It's going to be fucking great. And being in the middle of butt fucking nowhere means that we're spending more than we generate. Interesting. So obviously debt's going to continue to go up because no one's willing to cut a budget or, pay things back. Politicians make endless promises that can't be fucking ever come to fruition because, of course, breaks the budget even more. Then we got to pass more taxes. Then everything increases in price because, of course, the taxes are passed on to the people because, of course, those are the ones who are paying it. Hopefully, they don't pass it, but who gives a shit, right? Higher wages don't cause inflation. Higher taxes don't cause inflation. Nothing causes inflation. Because we are not willing to talk about what causes inflation. All we're willing to talk about is how to spend money we don't have on social programs that don't really work. Seen a lot of homeless people lately, right? How many billions go to that every year and get no return out of it? Even more homeless people. Let's see. How about shipping jobs out of country, out of state? Okay. High taxes for businesses? Great. We'll move somewhere else. We'll take our businesses elsewhere. What about the little businesses? Well, they can't go anywhere. They can't do shit because, of course, they're stuck. They ain't got the fucking cash to uplift and move somewhere else. Isn't that great? So, it's like the state of Washington just passed a shitload of new taxes on upper-end businesses. You know, and what did a lot of those upper-ended businesses do the last time they passed this tax? They left. They walked out. They went somewhere where there was less taxes. And of course, the usual mantra is, well, we have to find a way to keep these businesses here so they can support our ecosystem. Again, what is it with government officials thinking that your money is their money? That does cause inflation. Hey, we think we should be able to steal from you and take whatever we want from you without any consequences whatsoever. That's fucking delusion. That's a lack of fucking reality. And yet, for some odd reason, they still think it's your money, or they still think it's their money. You just have a hold of it for a minute. No fucking problems. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. Again, it doesn't cause inflation. Listen to these people. Nothing causes inflation except evil corporate greedy fucks. Evil corporate greedy fucks. Those are the people that cause inflation. Not printing money that we don't have for shit we don't need. Not increasing wages endlessly to try to stave off the inflationary consequences, which means, you know, everything costs more. You get paid less because, of course, it's going to have to keep going up, and the prices are going to go up in relation to when you raise the wages. Again, inflation. It's beautiful. Well, 100 years ago, you were only getting paid like maybe $1 a day or some shit like that. And it's like, yeah, and almost everything was costing less than $1. Now, there is nothing less than $1, is there? Is there? How much shit can you find in your grocery store for less than $1? Can you go to Burger King and get things for less than $1? Can you? Your Social Security doesn't go up very fast because, again, there's no fucking money in it. So people on fixed wages get especially hosed. You know? The property taxes go up because, of course, we need to pass a bond for something. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What are the long-term consequences? Well, we've got Zimbabwe as a fucking example, where it's like $1 trillion Zimbabwe dollars to get a cheeseburger. It's a little hyperbole, but do you get the fucking point? It's like, how do you like the idea of paying $1 trillion for a tank of gas? Because that's what's going to happen if our system lasts that long. If our system lasts that long. Because again, 40 trillion in the hole that we know of. Plus all of these states that are tens, hundreds of billions of dollars in the fucking hole. Yep, 6 states over $100 billion owed. So you're looking at 1.2, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9, 1.10. So, yeah, you're looking at well over $1 trillion in combined state level debt. Wow, that's a lot of money. So, I mean, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It just lets you know how close the system is to collapse. And the worse the inflation gets, the more telling it is that our system is near death. You want to reverse it? You want to reverse it? That's my question. Do you want to reverse it? Do you want to reverse it? Do you want this country to tear itself apart debt-wise and have vultures from all across the world come through and snatch it up and then institute their ways on those states, on those territories, on those areas? Do you want it? Do you need it? Do you got to have it? I bet you don't want to have it. I bet you don't want to need it. You know, right now we're having a discussion about free speech. Watching the UK, imprison people for saying things. And not just things that we would find offensive, but how about using the word bacon? Ooh, bacon. So scary and so fearful. We must imprison you for using the word bacon because you know it's offensive to one or two specific groups. We need to imprison you for that. Is that what you want to do? I mean, I know that shooting people seems to be okay for certain groups in this country. You know, you said something we don't like. Speech is violent. Criticism is hate speech. Therefore, we must take you out. And if you want to argue, well, the right is more violent, it's like, go fuck yourself. If you want to play a game of semantics so you can stay away from your accountability, go fuck yourself, okay? You want your buddy put in jail for saying something offensive? I always make this point to the leftists who scream and cry for things. Do you want the shotgun, the proverbial shotgun that you want aimed at the right, to be turned around and aimed at you? Do you want it? Because I guarantee you, you're going to say no. You're going to say no. Hey, you're a leftist ideologue, and we're just going to shoot you. We're going to have an assassin come by, pop, 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 you're dead. We don't care. Do you really want that to happen to you? Common sense. It's so uncommon anymore. If it was free, nobody would be buying it. But yeah, you want to talk about inflation. Again, when I was growing up, when I was an adult, when I became an adult, which is 18, okay? 21 is not adult. 18 is adult. You can join the military at 18. They'll hand you a gun. You're going to go kill people. You're an adult. It's not 21. It's 18. The fact that, people don't mature as well as they used to. Yeah, that's because they've been given such easy fucking lives with coddling ass, devouring mothers that caused this fucking problem. Why are 21s acting so immature? Yeah, that's because you told them they're children. And they should act like children pretty much their entire lives. I see 30 and 40-year-olds act just like they're still in high school, and yet they're 30 and 40. You know, so we don't have the workforce anymore that we used to because most of the jobs have been shipped overseas. You know, lumber jobs. Oh my God, I've seen so many lumber mills close because it's so much cheaper to ship the logs over to China or to wherever, have them processed, then send them back. And they come back in dog shit form. They're not as good as they would be if they were made in this country. But because it's so much cheaper to ship and come back, we don't really care about the quality. We just want it done cheap. Way to kill the jobs. And what happens when those jobs go away? Well, that's a whole new load of welfare recipients you've got to deal with. Because the jobs they were making were good value jobs, high-paying jobs. And because they're paid too much, those jobs got shipped overseas. So now they're on welfare rolls, unemployment rolls, whatever fucking roll it is. Awesome, right? And having heard one person go, well, they should just go get a job at McDonald's. What about the money they were making? Well, fuck them. Who cares? They need to get jobs so they can, stay afloat. It's like, why? You told them to fuck themselves when you shipped those jobs overseas. Environmental rules and regulations, yada, yada, yada. You told them to go fuck themselves. Why would they want to go work at McDonald's and have to deal with shitbags like you? Entitled assholes who think everybody should make $1 million a year. Don't worry. You'll be making $1 million a year working at McDonald's when the economy tanks so hard that, we're printing out $1 trillion bills just to get a cheeseburger. Welcome to inflation. Good job. Yeah. And I know all the fucking whiny ass arguments. I've heard them so many times before that I am just going to say this point blank. The reason why the tariffs were instituted by Trump was to try and bring some of those jobs back to this country. Because if you raise the cost of the processing overseas, guess what? That's going to encourage people to bring some of that shit back. At least that's the hope. And some of it is true. Not all of it, but some of it. But because we're so far in fucking debt, and our leaders are so incompetent, so greedy, and so narcissistic, they don't give a fuck about the people they're hurting. They just want to keep going down the fucking bankruptcy road and hope and pray that something will come along and make everything great. The universal basic income. What a great idea. Let's pay people absolutely nothing for doing absolutely nothing because automation has taken over so badly and we've shipped all of our jobs overseas. That's not going to drive up the fucking debt. Not at all. That's not going to fucking make inflation run wild. Not at all. I'd be a politician, but I'd be assassinated within 5 minutes, all right? You imagine somebody getting on stage and telling this shit? I mean, Charlie Kirk just got murdered for trying to have conversations with people so they can become enlightened and question the narratives that they're being fed by the media. What do you think's going to happen to somebody who actually wants to help and tell the truth? Yay! Doesn't that explain why we don't have any competent fucking leaders in our system? But again, inflation, it's going to be great. It isn't caused by anything but greedy white Republicans. Remember that. Greedy white Republicans. They're the only reason why inflation exists. And this is usually said by economically illiterate people who have no fucking clue what they're talking about, but they've been fed indoctrination points by the media, so they must know what they're doing. But yeah, debt bubble. What a great idea. 40 trillion in the hole. About another couple trillion out of the state governments. It's going to end well. So here's how do we fix it? How do we fix it? Simple. Cut your budget. We're dealing with a 1,000-pound human being that still sucks down cheeseburgers like they're fucking Tic Tacs. All right? Eat some veggies. Stop eating so much. Do some working out. Cut back on your budget. Be more fiscally responsible. That way we can actually pay some of this debt back and start shrinking the debt so the interest rates can start going down. And so we can actually start having a country that's whole again and isn't completely fucked in a few years when the debt bubble pops. That's what you got to do. You got to pay the debt down. You got to cut your budgets. You got to stop paying for shit that isn't part of your job, isn't part of your responsibility as a government. Cut the welfare state. Cut the cut the socialized medicine. Cut a lot of things. Cut almost everything. But you can't, because too many people whine and complain. They're so used to spending like drunken sailors at a hooker party, they just can't fucking fathom the idea of having to cut budgets, cut back on spending. I need my $1,000 iPhone. No, you don't. You need about a $200 phone. I spent $200 or less on the phone that I've got, and you know what? Suits me just fine. Does me well. All I want from my phone is texting, calling, and some internet. That's it. And even that I don't really need. I just enjoy having it. It's a nice option, but I don't need it. Costs more money. Costs more money. Cut back on the budget. Stop spending so much. Trim the fat. That's the only way you're going to fix the problem. If you keep going down this same fucking road of endless debt spending, endless credit card spending, selling your children out for the future, for the undeniably ever future, so you can have the nicest, newest, coolest stuff, yeah, you're fucking yourself and you're fucking everyone else. And you're driving up prices and inflation and everything else. And, you know, but hey, who cares, right? Live for you. Don't care anything about anybody but yourself. That's the story of the inflation. You want more, and you don't want to have to pay for it. You want somebody else to pay for it. Well, electing competent people to do an incompetent job for an entitled, malignant, narcissistic society that has been coddled for way too long, has been living on the hog over their grandchildren's future. Well, if you don't change it now, country goes to shit. Debt bubble pops, this country turns into a fucking third world shithole. All the authoritarians and totalitarians will come out and just have a blast. All the countries around the world will celebrate our passing until the people who pick up the pieces come for them. And then this world turns into the most nightmarish hellhole. All because we couldn't manage a fucking budget. Let that sink into your goddamn heads for a minute. Maybe you should start electing people who actually want to save this country, who don't hate this country, and will actually listen and talk to people regardless of political ideology. People who actually stand up and have a spine. Maybe you should elect those people. Good luck. Hope everything goes well. I'm sure enough of us will want to get the fuck off this planet as soon as the totalitarians come and just have fun with us all. Because when this country collapses because of its incompetence and stupidity, the world will rejoice. At least the tyrants will. Yay, we don't have to worry about America anymore. We can just pick them off easy as pie now. We'll round them up like cattle and shoot the ones that we think are a threat. And for those who are like, oh no, that's not going to happen. Thousands of years of human history, and you don't know a fucking thing. Have a nice night. Hope you learn one day before the shit hits the fan. Peace.